But I saw some odd things in her photos, including photos of her in someone else's house. A house which I'd never seen before, taking provocative images. Welcome back to They Did What? Your source for the internet's craziest, most entertaining stories, where I go over them, analyze them, and most certainly make fun of them. Today, definitely going over a crazy one, titled, "My wife was off in a tragic accident, then I found out she was cheating." And guys, this is about a guy, he's 35 years old, his wife, before she died, was 34, married for 10 years, thought everything was great, and then she got into a car accident and she was killed. Afterwards, after the funeral and all that, going through her stuff, he found proof that, wait for it, she was cheating, having a full-on affair. And talk about this poor guy who, first he lost his wife, who he thought he had a great thing going on with, and then to find out that she'd been cheating all this time. I mean, this poor guy. But also, you want to talk about karma, because wait till you see what was going on when she got in that car accident and died. And there's going to be many of you guys that are going to be laughing your ass off and say, hey, she got what she deserved, you know. But this is all about the guy, what he discovers, him dealing with it, all that. That'll be a very good one to go over here, guys. And again, this goes to show you, you must always pay attention to red flags, no matter how great of a thing you think you have with your wife or girlfriend. Unfortunately, some of these guys thought the same thing, and then they discover something horrible like this. And also, I might add, you're going to see that her friends, to no surprise, some friends knew about this. And that's why you can never, if a guy thinks that, oh, I'm so cool with her friends, unless the friends are romantically interested in you, believe me, she comes first. Believe me. So it starts off, he says here, 2 months ago, my wife of 10 years, I'm 35 and she was 34, tragically passed away in a car accident, hit by a drunk driver in broad daylight. I cried nonstop for 3 days. We were planning on having kids, and I had started a good paying job a year earlier, and we just purchased our first home just 2 months before her death. Please tell me that she has life insurance that he can cash, that can take care of the remainder of the mortgage. I just couldn't and still can't believe she's really gone from my life. It's like just yesterday everything was heading in the right direction and would soon raise a family. She seemed happy in our marriage and stated how proud of me she was. Well, clearly she wasn't that happy. The following week after the accident, I received her phone, which was locked. After a week, I found out how to unlock it by an obvious code that I didn't think of earlier. I simply just wanted it to keep photos in her memory, photos of us, and so forth. But I saw some odd things in her photos, including photos of her in someone else's house. A house which I've never seen before, taking provocative images. As if this guy has not been through enough. He finds this. But on the other hand, what if I never found this? And he went his whole life thinking all these wonderful things about her. Some people may have wanted it that way, but I'd want to know. I continued scrolling down and seeing the most heart-wrenching things I've ever seen, which was her with another man. It was nothing sexual, but they were in a place that was obviously his, and just how close they were, and I just knew that it was an affair. This guy needs to go out and buy a lottery ticket, and then hopefully he gets some good karma and he wins the jackpot. The guy whom my wife had an affair with showed up at her funeral. I felt like I got stabbed in the gut when I realized I'd seen him there. I began reading her text, and first I found out that she was on her way back from his place. 3 hours before the accident, she texted him saying, I'm on my way. So she died on the way back from effing that dude. That sounds like karma to me. I knew that meant that he was the last one to see my wife. Not only see her, but having an intimate moment with her. Also, she would still be right here, right now, if she wasn't seeing him. That's on her. I felt like I'm going through a death of a loved one and a breakup at the same time. She did this behind my back and will never know that I found out. In a way, I feel she got to escape the heartbreak she put me through. Although I fully understand death is much worse, and even knowing everything I know, I would never ever wish this pain upon her. Which shows this guy's a very good guy. Too good for her. I found out not only through her text, but her Facebook messages. Something that absolutely enrages me is that she told her closest friend that this guy from work wanted to take her out to dinner. Her friend encouraged her to go out with him. There you go. Now here's a question. Is her friend single? Is her friend single because she's divorced? Misery loves company. Again, you must always pay attention to who your girl hangs out with, her friends, her coworkers, all that, because they're going to have an influence on her. And sometimes these gals that are unhappy because they're single will egg their girlfriends on to cheat or whatever, so they can. Misery loves company. It enrages me because I knew her as well, and in person she was always very nice. See? But my wife was asking her to get confirmation, and she said, "No, you are married. Do not go out with him." Oh, okay. I honestly feel like she wouldn't have done it. But her best friend was like, "Oh, is he hot? Oh, do it. Go have fun." It's just effing enraging. This happened 6 months ago when she asked her friend about it. A few days later, she talked to her friend about how after dinner she went to his place and had sex multiple times. When I read that, I honestly got physically sick. I honestly started going through a breakdown, vomiting in the toilet and crying on the bathroom floor. I just can't imagine that this stuff actually happened, but it did. How could she do this? Because she's a selfish asshole, that's why. And you know what? Look what happened. I don't feel bad for her. I'm sure a lot of you guys watching this don't feel bad for her. I know somebody's going to comment in the comments section and feel bad for her, but I don't. I feel bad for him. And I hope this guy really has some good things happen to him after this. But as the days passed and the initial shock began to slow down, I started piecing things together. The funeral, I noticed something a little unusual, which was this best friend of hers talking to one of her coworkers. This was a friend from high school, and there was no reason she should have known any of her coworkers. But she was in fact talking to her coworker who she had the affair with. Then she came and talked to me and gave me a hug. The guy who my wife was having an affair with came over and shook my hand. God, if he could go back in time, I'd break that motherfucker's hand. And then I would definitely have something done to that girl. Something about me just makes me feel sick. Something about that makes me feel sick. Like I was being humiliated in a moment of grief. There was him and her best friend who knew about the affair. I couldn't help but wonder, did her coworkers also know? Well, even if his wife didn't tell any coworkers, I guarantee you that dude and her BFF told people. Guaranteed. So other people know. It's been a month now, and I feel no closer to breaking away from this heartbreak. I miss her. I want her to be alive. If she was, I'd probably even want to fix our marriage. Smack. No, there'd be no fixing the marriage after that. Come on, brother. But she's not here anymore. I still couldn't bring myself to read all of her text messages with him. There's hundreds, and some are sexually explicit. My blood boils and my heart aches when I open their texts, and I get hit with anxiety and an adrenaline rush. Palms get sweaty and hands shake. Dude, I don't blame this guy at all, and there's no shame. The heartbreak, the crying, the throwing up and all that, he's human. But I feel it's important I know everything. It just breaks my heart this guy did things with my wife she wouldn't do for me. Well, there's a stereotype. The thing that blows my mind is that there was no warning signs at all. Not effing one. Our marriage was good. She never did anything suspicious. Our sex life went on as normal. Just zero warning signs about it other than the fact that she started wearing a little more makeup than usual. Then I blame myself for not catching on. Maybe this all could have been prevented. Maybe I should have done this or that. I'm broken now, and I don't see myself ever being happy again. It's understandable that he's blaming himself, questioning everything, but at the end of the day, she's the a-hole, and she made the choice to do that. If she wasn't happy with the marriage, she could have simply, at the very least, communicated being unhappy, but she didn't do that, and divorced the guy. But instead, she decided to have her cake and eat it too. She's a piece of garbage, and now she's a worm feast. I know, I'm going to hell, but she's a fucking worm feast. And that guy was knowingly hooking up with her, a married woman, he should be a worm feast too, but he will one day. He says here, as an edit, thank you to everyone for the support. I honestly didn't expect so much response. Everyone who wished me well, thank you, and know that your kind words give me strength. When these guys put their stories online, it's really helpful to them to get off their chest and hear support. It's amazing. I've got a response back from her friend stating that she is deeply sorry for encouraging the behavior and not taking my feelings into account. She never wanted to hurt and yada yada yada. Honestly, I don't feel any relief from her apologies. Fuck her. She doesn't give a shit. About the phone, I cannot bring myself to destroy all the truth. I feel like I must read through the entirety of my wife's text with this man or I will forever go crazy wondering what did and didn't occur. How often, and maybe get some answers, or if they were lovers, or was it just lust, sex, or what did she plan on doing? Obviously, in this state of trauma, I cannot emotionally handle reading their conversations, but I decided to keep the phone, to read it all, and then toss it and move on. If that's what he needs to do to heal, then so be it. You know, everybody's different. Also, for people telling me to piss on her grave and saying this is karma, please drop it and don't comment. Too late. I loved her for over a decade, and it's not going away like that. I still love this woman, even with the disgusting things she's done. She still is my wife, a daughter, and an aunt. She didn't deserve to get hit by some drunk driver and suffer with bleeding her brain that ultimately caused her death. Please go away. I do not need this, and I'm not a sick-minded enough man to have these thoughts. For everyone else, thank you so much. Well, drunk drivers are scumbags, and I hope the dude that was the drunk driver that killed her, he's rotting behind bars. Okay? And yeah, for this guy, he was in love with his wife. He was blindsided by this. But he will move on and all that, but he obviously needs to know everything that happened. Now, I'm still wondering about the guy that was nailing his wife. What's going to happen to him? Well, we'll see a little bit more next. Update. It says, hello all. I love everyone in this sub. You guys have shown me so much support regarding what I've been dealing with. I can't say anything has gotten any better, especially during this epidemic where I'm stuck not working now, just too much time. Anyway, people mentioned getting in touch with my wife's company's HR about the coworker whom she was having an affair with. There's an idea. And he says here apparently he is single. I've done this, and I asked about that, and they said there's no policy against coworkers getting romantically involved as long as it's off work. I kind of figured this was the case. As much as I wanted to get him fired or ruin his life, it was in fact consensual, and their affair was off the clock, so I understand that there's nothing they can do. I didn't think there was. Well, I wonder if he's in there are some states that, I can't think of the term, but if a guy ruins, if your wife is having an affair with another dude, that guy can be sued for screwing up the marriage, screwing up the relationship, something like that. I'd find out if he lives in one of those states. I can't think of the term to save my life. I sent a screenshot of the message of her friend encouraging her to her boyfriend on Facebook. He replied that he's sorry for what happened to me, but that she didn't think she would actually do it, and that I shouldn't blame his girlfriend for my wife's affair or death. So I guess it's dead, and there's an dead end there, and I'm talking to a doorknob who believes whatever his girlfriend says. So he went to the boyfriend of his deceased wife's. He went to the boyfriend of the friend that was encouraging his wife and presented evidence of what kind of woman this is. And this guy was just like, whatever. So I'm sure she's cheating on him. I got tons of suggestions about posting her texts and messages to the public about what she did. I'm not going to do this, and I really don't understand the point of doing it. She is gone and has no consequences left to suffer. No justice will be served. She is gone. I'll only be making this more difficult for her family. Besides, it's not really anyone else's business, even if she was alive. Yeah, I agree with that. It's not going to do anything. You know, if her family, they were good people and they were good to him, you know, let it go. So I decided to go through all her texts with him and her other friends. I was going to wait longer before looking, but I just couldn't sleep. I couldn't seem to move on from wondering how, where, and why, and not having any answers. Her entire conversation with him was still there from their first and last texts. A little bit of good news, though, is she apparently expressed some guilt, although not right away, about their affair, and after meeting him the second time for sex, she expressed guilt and told him that she can't continue seeing him. But of course, it would continue. Their conversations would range from her being very close to him, sending him heart-filled messages, to next thing, totally ignoring him. But she would sometimes apologize for ignoring him, which obviously angered me. So his wife was a whirlwind of emotions, and sometimes expressing through her texts she felt bad, but at the end of the day, what she said didn't mean shit. Her actions said everything. Bad news is she appears to have been much more S-word exploratory with him. She also smoked weed with him, which I never saw her do. I found out that he had anal sex with her more than once, yet it's something she would never let me do. She also had him sleep in our bed on the night that I went to visit my brother. What a freaking piece of shit. It's bad enough she's doing this, but he goes away, and that guy's in his house, in his bed. No. She can burn in hell. And of course, the Hershey Highway action, that is always the case. The guy finds out that his girl, his wife, is allowing some other dude to plow her from behind, and he can't do that, of course. That's always the case. Also, she gave him head while he drove to get lunch on their lunch break. She talked about it like it was funny. And then she comes home to you and gives you a kiss. This isn't something I was ready for. I began shaking and puking. It gave me a severe anxiety attack, and I resorted to drinking last night because it was just too much. I felt like he took it from me, like he killed her because she wouldn't be alive if she didn't go to his place. I'd confront this guy anyway. Seriously, I'd be like, right there, I got all the evidence, motherfucker. You better sleep with one eye open. I'd say things in a way they couldn't go, report me. But this guy deserves something to happen to him. Let's be honest here. I've been obsessed with the dates on their messages which they would meet. I go back to my social media and camera album to see what day that was. I was heartbroken when I saw they met on our anniversary, where I took her to dinner to the very first place we went on a date. I remember that day as a very good night with her. Very romantic, and we were both so happy and close. I felt like I got hit in the gut knowing that she had sex with another man just hours before our date. On their own anniversary. So let's go back to him saying that he was upset that some people in the comment section were saying, hey, she got what she deserved, karma. But you know what? That was before he discovered all this. I think she got what she deserved. I think it's funny. Fuck her. She can burn in hell. This is a good man. No guy deserves this. Someone's going to be pissed that I'm expressing this opinion, but I don't care. My mind is still numb after what I read last night. I just can't believe that shit actually happened. I honestly wish I never discovered this. I'd much rather have left her phone alone. I'd rather have remembered something I never knew. A lie compared to how I feel now. But now that I know, I need to let go of all the love I have for her. I'm mourning her death and I miss her so much, but it's the time I need to realize she isn't who I thought she was. Yes, he's mourning who he thought she was, but now he realizes that wasn't her at all. And the sad thing is, this guy wasted 10 years of his life being married to her in the years before that, when he either could have been alone, and happily alone, or maybe with somebody else that treated him with love and loyalty that he deserved. I've read everything that there is to know, and at least I don't think I can hurt any more than I'm hurting right now. Here is to hopefully healing. I have a talk with a psychologist in about a month, but if I feel any worse, I will go to the hospital because I'm close to feeling like offing myself. But I know it's a logical feeling. I must go on. So there you go, guys. That's an abrupt ending to this crazy story here. But what a poor guy. Oh my God. She dies and he finds out that having the affair and all the ugly details of that and hooking up in his bed. And on their anniversary, I mean, she's a piece of shit. I don't feel bad for her at all. Fuck her. She can burn in hell. But I wish this guy the best. And for God's sakes, I'm sure he's feeling like every day doesn't want to get out of bed and depressed and just a loser and all that. But no. You lived, and you can then have a great life. And just take it one day at a time healing. But going forward, because he's obviously a relationship guy, really pay attention to red flags. And if there are any red flags, look again for red flags. And you can't trust the girl's friends, co-workers, all that. And it's just a shame. But this guy really does deserve some good things coming to him. Like I said, buy a lottery ticket. If anybody deserves some good luck for him to hit the jackpot, that's it. I hope at least that she had a life insurance policy that he can then cash in to pay for the rest of the house and get some money out of her death. That's the least that could happen to him after everything that happened, But good Lord. And as for the guy that was nailing his wife, that guy definitely has something coming. Karma will get him too. A lot of people don't believe in it, but I've seen too many things in life to know that karma does exist. And if you're going to willingly go do things to people, hurt others, cheat, lie, steal, whatever, it's going to come back to you in one form or another. It may take 20 years, but it will come back. So I wish him well. All right, guys, that's it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. Be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. I'll catch you next time.